Welcome. You're standing on the deck of a small ferry crossing Table Bay in 1967, and you're approaching Robben Island. The wind is cold, coming off the Atlantic, carrying salt spray that stings your face. The water is gray-green, chopped into waves that make the ferry roll. Behind you, Cape Town spreads against the base of Table Mountain. The mountain is massive, flat-topped, visible from everywhere. The city is clear enough to see individual buildings. White buildings climbing the slopes, roads, the harbor. Life continuing. In front of you, the island grows larger. It's low, flat, barely rising above sea level. No trees, no shelter, just rock and sand and scrub grass, bent by constant wind. 7 miles from the mainland, close enough to see freedom, far enough that freedom might as well be on another continent. This is Robben Island, and it's designed to make men disappear without killing them. The island is small, 5 square miles. You can walk around it in a few hours, but no prisoner will ever walk around it. The perimeter is forbidden. Watchtowers face the water, guards with rifles. The assumption is that anyone near the shore is attempting escape. The water is the first prison. The Atlantic here is cold, 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. Hypothermia sets in within minutes. Great white sharks patrol these waters. They breed near Seal Island, just south of here. The current is strong, pulling toward the open ocean. The distance to the mainland is swimmable in theory. In practice, it's a death sentence. A few prisoners will try over the years. None will succeed. Most will be recaptured before reaching the water. Those who make it into the sea will be pulled back or will simply vanish. The ocean keeps what the island releases. The ferry slows as it approaches the harbor. There's a concrete pier, relatively new, built to accommodate the increased traffic of prisoners and supplies. Before this, boats had to anchor offshore and transfer people and cargo in smaller vessels. The island has been used for centuries. The Dutch held political prisoners here in the 1600s. The British used it as a leper colony in the 1800s. During World War II, it was a military base. Now in the 1960s, it's a maximum security prison for political prisoners under apartheid. The South African government has designated it for this specific purpose. Not common criminals, not murderers or thieves, political prisoners, people convicted of organizing against the apartheid state, people convicted of sabotage, treason, conspiracy, people whose crime was believing that a government based on racial classification was illegitimate. You step off the ferry onto the pier. The wind is stronger here, unobstructed by buildings or trees. There are no trees on Robben Island. A few structures are visible: the prison complex, guard housing, administrative buildings, a church from the leper colony days, abandoned now. Everything is low, built to survive the wind. The architecture is institutional, concrete and brick, functional. No decoration, no beauty. The buildings exist to contain, to process, to control. Nothing more. Your walk toward the prison complex. The walk is short but exposed. The sky is huge here. Too much sky. The horizon is flat in every direction except south, where Table Mountain rises across the water. The mountain is a constant presence, a reminder. The city is there. Your family is there. Your life is there. You can see it. You cannot reach it. This is the cruelty of Robben Island. It doesn't hide you in wilderness. It puts you in sight of everything you've lost. The prison complex is surrounded by high walls topped with barbed wire, watchtowers at intervals, floodlights. The entrance is a heavy gate operated by guards. You pass through. The gate closes behind you. The sound is metal on metal, final. Inside the walls, the space is organized into sections. The main building contains cells. The administrative building contains offices where guards process paperwork, where the commanding officer oversees operations, where the machinery of detention functions. There's a courtyard, a dining hall, workshops. Everything is monitored. Guards everywhere, white guards, all of them. The prisoners are all black, classified as Bantu or colored under apartheid's racial laws. The guards are white, Afrikaner mostly, part of the prison service. The racial hierarchy is absolute, invisible in every interaction. The cells are small, 8 feet by 7 feet. The B-section cells, where the majority of prisoners are held, are arranged in rows. Each cell contains a mat on the floor, a bucket for waste, a small barred window too high to see out of properly. No furniture, no privacy. The door is solid metal with a small viewing slot. The guards can look in at any time. The prisoners cannot see out. Light comes from a single bulb controlled from outside. The temperature is whatever the outside temperature is. In winter, the cells are freezing. The Atlantic wind penetrates everything. The prisoners sleep on thin mats with thin blankets. In summer, the cells are hot, airless, stifling. There's no climate control, no comfort, just concrete and metal and time. The routine begins before dawn. The sound that wakes you is keys. Guards walking the corridors, keys jangling, then shouting. You're ordered to wake, stand for count. Every prisoner is counted, twice. The guards verify numbers against lists. The counting is obsessive. 5 times a day, sometimes more. You are a number. Your name is replaced by a number. You answer to the number. You are counted like inventory. After the morning count, the command to empty waste buckets. You carry your bucket to the designated area. You empty it. You clean it. The humiliation is intentional. Educated men, professionals, leaders, forced to carry their own waste like animals. This is part of the system. Degradation. The removal of dignity. Breakfast is brought to the cells or eaten in the dining hall, depending on the section. The food is deliberately insufficient. Prisoners are classified by race even within the prison. Black prisoners receive less food than colored prisoners. The rations are calculated to keep you alive but weak. Maize porridge in the morning. Watery soup at midday. More porridge in the evening. Sometimes bread. Rarely meat. The portions are small. Malnutrition is common. Weight loss is universal. The prisoners supplement when they can. Smuggled food. Gardens they're sometimes allowed to tend. But the baseline is hunger. Constant, grinding hunger that saps energy and focus. After breakfast, work assignments. The majority of prisoners are sent to the lime quarry. This is the primary labor. The quarry is a large pit about half a mile from the prison complex. You walk there in formation, guarded. The walk is silent. Talking is forbidden during work details. The silence is enforced. Guards watch for any communication. Infractions mean punishment, isolation, loss of privileges. The prisoners walk in lines, wearing shorts and thin shirts regardless of weather. No coats, no hats. In winter, the cold is brutal. In summer, the sun is worse. The quarry is blinding. The lime is white, almost pure white. The sun reflects off it with an intensity that burns your eyes. No sunglasses are provided, no protection. You work with hammers and picks, breaking lime rock into smaller pieces. The work is hard, physical, pointless. The lime isn't needed for anything specific. The work exists to occupy you, to exhaust you, to break you physically. You swing the hammer. The impact jars your arms. The dust rises. You breathe it. The lime dust coats everything. Your skin, your clothes, your lungs. It burns your throat. It makes you cough. After months of this, your eyes are damaged. Many prisoners develop permanent eye problems from the glare and the dust. The damage is cumulative and irreversible. You work for hours. The sun climbs. There's no shade in the quarry. The heat reflects off the white stone. You sweat through your thin clothes. The guards watch from the rim, rifles ready. They rotate, taking breaks. You don't. The only breaks are brief when a guard decides. You might get water, you might not. Dehydration is common. Heat exhaustion happens. You keep working. The pile of broken lime grows. It will be hauled away by truck. What happens to it doesn't matter. The point isn't the lime. The point is the labor, the exhaustion, the control. Midday, a break for the watery soup. You eat quickly, then back to the quarry. The afternoon is worse than the morning. The sun is higher. The heat is more intense. Your body is already tired. The hammer feels heavier. Your hands blister, then callous. The monotony is crushing. Hour after hour, breaking rock. No conversation, no variation. Just the rhythm of the hammer and the guards watching, and the sun burning, and the dust choking. This is what the days are made of. This is how time passes on Robben Island. Not in events, but in repetition. The same brutal routine. Day after day, week after week, year after year. When the workday ends, you walk back to the prison complex. Silent, exhausted, the evening count, then the evening meal, more porridge, then locked in your cell. The door closes, the light stays on for a while, then goes out on a schedule you don't control. You lie on your mat, your body aches, your hands are raw, your eyes burn from the lime dust. The cold seeps in through the concrete. You can hear the ocean, the waves hitting the rocks, constant, rhythmic, the sound of the island, the sound of separation. That water is all that separates you from your family, from your community, from your life. But it's an absolute barrier. You might as well be on another planet. Sleep comes eventually if you can manage it. The cold makes it difficult. The thin blanket is insufficient. You curl tight, trying to conserve heat. Some nights you barely sleep. Then the keys in the morning, the shouting, the count, the bucket. The same day beginning again. This is Robben Island. Not the famous stories, not the eventual triumph. This is the daily reality, the grinding, dehumanizing routine designed to break you. The isolation is total. Mail is restricted. One letter every 6 months. Outgoing letters are censored. Words are blacked out. Entire paragraphs removed. You write carefully, knowing guards will read everything. Your family writes back. Their letters are also censored. You learn to read between the lines. But the communication is so limited, so delayed, that you lose connection. Your children grow up. You see them once a year if you're allowed visits. The visits are 30 minutes. You sit on opposite sides of a barrier. You cannot touch, you speak through a screen. A guard listens to everything. Topics are restricted, no discussion of politics, no discussion of prison conditions, just personal news. How is school? How is your health? The superficial exchange of information that cannot convey what you need to say. I miss you. I love you. I'm still here. I haven't forgotten who I am. But the system is designed to make you forget. Your name is replaced by a number. Your clothes are replaced by a uniform. Your routine is dictated. Your speech is controlled. Your movements are watched. Everything that made you an individual is stripped away. You become a prisoner, a unit, a problem to be managed. The guards call you by number. They don't use names unless necessary. You're told when to wake, when to eat, when to work, when to sleep. You have no autonomy, no choices. The psychological pressure is immense. Some prisoners break. They become silent, withdrawn, compliant. They stop resisting, even mentally. The system has won. Others resist in small ways. Secret conversations, smuggled news, classes taught in whispers. The political prisoners on Robben Island organize themselves despite the restrictions. They form committees. They share knowledge. The educated teach the less educated. They turn the prison into a university. But this is done in secret, in fragments, in moments stolen from the routine. The guards suspect but can't always prove. The resistance is quiet, internal, invisible to cameras and watchtowers. The island itself is a character in this story. The wind never stops. It shapes everything. The buildings are built low to survive it. The vegetation is stunted. Even the penguins that nest here are adapted to harsh conditions. The African penguins waddle along the rocks, indifferent to the human drama. They've been here longer than any prison. They'll be here after. For them, the island is just home. For the prisoners, the island is erasure. The lime quarry is not the only work. Some prisoners are assigned to kelp collection on the beaches. They wade into the cold water, gathering seaweed that will be dried and processed. The water is shocking. Your feet go numb. Your hands stop working properly. You gather the kelp and haul it to shore. This work is less brutal than the quarry, but still exhausting. Still cold, still controlled by guards with rifles. Other prisoners work in the prison gardens, growing vegetables that mostly go to the guards and administrative staff. The prisoners get scraps. Some work in workshops, making things the prison needs. There's a library, but access is restricted. Certain books are banned. Most books are banned. The few allowed are heavily censored. The nights are the hardest. Alone in your cell, the darkness is total when the light goes out. The sounds are amplified. Guards walking, doors opening and closing. The ocean. Always the ocean. In winter, the wind howls. It finds every crack in the building. The cold is penetrating. You wrap yourself in the thin blanket and wait for morning. Time moves differently at night. Hours stretch. Sleep is interrupted by cold, by noise, by the strangeness of being locked in a small space with no control over anything. Some prisoners go mad. Isolation cells are used for punishment. Completely dark, no human contact. Days or weeks alone with nothing. Men emerge from isolation changed. Some don't emerge at all. They're transferred to psychiatric facilities on the mainland. The island has broken them, but many resist. The political prisoners have something the system can't take: belief. They believe the apartheid system is wrong. They believe resistance is necessary. They believe history will vindicate them. This belief sustains them through the cold, the hunger, the brutality, the isolation. They hold discussions in the quarry when guards aren't close. They pass notes. They memorize information and relay it. They maintain their political organizations inside the prison. The ANC has a structure on the island. The PSC has a structure. The movements continue even here. The government wanted to bury these movements by imprisoning their leaders. Instead, they created a space where the leaders could think, plan, educate each other. The prison becomes a laboratory for the future. The guards are varied. Some are brutal. They enjoy the power. They use racial slurs. They beat prisoners for minor infractions or for no reason at all. They withhold food, deny medical care, create arbitrary rules designed to punish. Others are indifferent. They do their jobs. They don't care about politics. They're here for the salary. A few are conflicted. They see the prisoners are educated, articulate, dignified despite everything. The cognitive dissonance is uncomfortable. How can these men be dangerous terrorists when they're teaching each other mathematics and discussing philosophy? But they don't act on the dissonance. They're part of the system. The system requires them to see the prisoners as dangerous, as less than human. Years pass. The routine doesn't change. New prisoners arrive. Others are transferred out or released. The population fluctuates, but the core remains. The long-term prisoners become fixtures. They know every inch of the island. They know the guards' patterns. They know how to navigate the system. They adapt without surrendering. This is the key: adaptation without surrender. You learn to survive the cold, the hunger, the isolation, without internalizing the message that you deserve this, without accepting the system's definition of you. You remain who you are internally even as the external conditions try to erase you. The world outside continues. You hear fragments, smuggled newspapers, whispered conversations with new arrivals. The struggle continues on the mainland. The government cracks down harder. More arrests, more violence. The apartheid system is being challenged everywhere, and the government responds with force. The island is part of that force, a tool of suppression. By removing the leaders, the government hopes to decapitate the movements, but movements don't work that way. New leaders emerge. The ideas spread. The island can imprison bodies. It cannot imprison ideas. Across the water, Cape Town goes about its business. People work, shop, attend school, live their lives. Most white South Africans don't think about Robben Island. It's out of sight, out of mind. The prisoners are criminals according to the government. Terrorists, saboteurs, people who deserve punishment. The propaganda is effective, but some know the truth. Families of prisoners, activists who continue the work, international observers who recognize apartheid for what it is. Slowly, very slowly, opinion shifts. The island becomes known internationally. The prisoners become symbols. But that's future. For now, in the late 1960s and early 1970s, the island is doing what it's designed to do: holding men in silence, erasing them from public consciousness, burying them alive on a windswept rock within sight of freedom. You stand in the quarry one afternoon. The sun is high. The lime is blinding. Your hands move automatically. Pick up the hammer. Swing. Break the rock. You've done this thousands of times. Your mind is somewhere else, planning, thinking, remembering who you are. The guards think they see compliance. What they see is adaptation. You're learning patience, endurance. You're learning that systems change, that nothing is permanent, that this island, this prison, this routine will not last forever. You don't know when it will end. You don't know how, but you know it will. History moves. The apartheid system is unsustainable. It's built on violence and lies. Eventually, violence and lies collapse under their own weight. You may not live to see it, but it will happen. The wind picks up. It carries dust. You squint against it. The guards shift position. The afternoon stretches ahead. More hours of this. Then the walk back. The count. The meal. The cell. The night. Then tomorrow the same. And the day after. Week after week. Year after year. Some prisoners will spend 18 years here. Some will spend 27. An entire generation in prison. But they will emerge. And when they emerge, they will remember. They will carry the memory of this place. The cold, the wind, the lime dust, the silence, the isolation, the attempt to erase them, and they will use that memory. They will build a country that rejects everything this island represents. That's the future. The improbable, impossible future that seems like fantasy from inside a cell. But for now, the waves still crash against the rocks. The guards still walk their patterns. The count happens on schedule. The lime quarry dust still burns your eyes and throat. The cells remain locked at night. The island holds its prisoners in silence. The mainland continues, visible but unreachable. Table Mountain stands eternal in the south. The city spreads at its base. Life goes on there. Here, on this flat rock in the Atlantic, time is suspended. Men are held outside of time, outside of society, removed from history while they're still living. This is Robben Island, not a place of rehabilitation, not a place of punishment that ends, but a place of erasure, where men are sent to disappear. The ferry that brought you will return to Cape Town. It will carry guards rotating shifts. It will carry supplies. It won't carry prisoners. They stay. Years accumulate. The routine grinds on. The system assumes it will last forever. The prisoners know it won't. But knowing doesn't make the days shorter. Doesn't make the cold less cold or the hunger less sharp. Knowing just makes endurance possible. Just barely possible. The light fades. Evening approaches. The workday ends. The walk back to the complex. The same path. The same guards. The same silence. The ocean to your left, visible between buildings. The water is darkening as the sun sets. Somewhere across that water, your family eats dinner. Your children do homework. Your wife goes about her evening. They think of you. You think of them. The distance is 7 miles. It might as well be 7,000. The separation is absolute. This is what Robben Island does. It places you close enough to see what you've lost, far enough that you can never touch it. The cruelty is geographic, precise, calculated. The guards lock the cells. The lights dim. Night comes. The wind continues. It always continues. The island is nothing but rock and wind and water, and the structures men built to hold other men. And it will continue. For years, until the system that built it collapses. Until the prisoners walk free. Until the island becomes a museum instead of a prison. Until the story is told and retold and becomes part of history instead of buried silence. But that's decades away, multiple futures away. Right now, tonight, in this cell, on this island, in this moment, there's only the wind and the waves and the locked door and the waiting. The endless, patient, determined waiting for a future that must come eventually because nothing this brutal can last forever, even if it feels like forever from inside the cell.